tomorrow.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting. Just to mention, when somebody's speaking, they requested the last time you're going to speak to go ahead and remove your mask temporarily because sometimes they can't hear us real well. We monitor there, so like I said. Today is Tuesday, November the 16th, 2021. The time is now 6:01 p.m. The regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Trinidad will now come to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Wally, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
For a comment, she's worked 40 years. I could work up center. Grace.
Have a roll call, please.
DeBono?
Here.
Goodall? Griego?
Here.
Ogletree?
Here.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson?
Here.
Rico?
Here. And I'll have a proclamation for Veterans Day Appreciation Month. Office of the Mayor, Trinidad, Colorado, proclamation. Veterans Appreciation Month, November 2021. Whereas men and women from across this country have responded to the call of duty to defend our great nation at home and abroad in times of need. And whereas Americans should not take for granted the important role the United States Armed Forces have played in the history and development of our country. And whereas the men and women actively serving our nation are dedicated to achieving a lasting peace, fighting in honor of those veterans who have gone before them into the field of battle in the name of the United States of America. And whereas these men and women disrupted their lives and the lives of their families to protect and defend ours and our nation's freedom. And whereas words alone cannot describe the everlasting gratitude and respect we have for those who have fought for our freedom, and whereas it is fitting that veterans and active personnel are honored and recognized for their military service. Now therefore, I, Philip T. Rico, Mayor of the City of Trinidad, Colorado, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim November 2021 as Veterans Appreciation Month in the City of Trinidad in recognition and appreciation to our veterans and those actively in the service of our nation. And we observe the month in a symbol of unity. In witness here whereof I have unhereunto set my hand and caused the seal of this city to be affixed. Mayor Philip T. Rico, date 11/16/2021. Okay. I don't think we have anybody here to accept it, so we'll get that to, we can call Ray. Sorry. Approval of the agenda. Council have any changes to the agenda that they would like to make? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Call vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Item 3, policy items and staff reports. Mr. Valentine, do you have anything to report?
Nothing at this time, man. Thank you.
Item 4, petitions or communications, oral or written. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? I do have a letter here that I would like to read that we received today. In the meantime, it says, Dear Mayor, City Council and staff, City staff, Trinidad needs a highway study for Highway 12. I'm happy to see the growth of Trinidad occurring in recent times. The strategic risks made by council have paid off, and the slow growth we hoped for is occurring. I do feel that we need to prepare in a proactive manner to prepare for the unforeseen issues, one of which is road safety. We always hope to pull people off the highway. Well, we are doing that. We need to make sure that roads can handle the traffic in a safe manner. As we push for recreational and tourist economies, we need to prepare for issues on Highway 12 running through Trinidad. I have seen a lot more semi-trucks, large campers, and other out-of-town drivers on our in-town Highway 12 section from the roundabout to Jansen. This method of transportation runs by our schools in Central Park. Both areas are full of pedestrians and fast vehicles. With the new infrastructure bill passed, Colorado is poised to receive $3.7 billion for highways and $225 million for bridges. I would hope that with the CDOT traffic discussion this Thursday, people would be made aware of these opportunities, and that with support of the community, find a valid reason to have a study performed for our community. This will ensure that when the funds are released, Trinidad will stand ahead of other communities as a shovel-ready project with a traffic study in hand. Ultimately, this will give Trinidad a leg up on other communities, as we have already done the homework. Thank you for your consideration, Carlos R. Lopez. And for people listening in the audience, we do have a traffic study in progress right now. They're going to be discussing that on Thursday at the Community Center.
Community Center.
At, what, 5:30, right?
No.
Yeah, correct. 5:30 till 7, I believe.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay, sign up sheet. Ms. Grego?
Yeah,
Yes,
sir.
You'll take the stand?
Yes, sir. Just don't scare me in.
Yeah, that's right.
Get a title.
They're telling us 5 minutes, Council.
This is gonna take way less than
Just
5.
kidding.
Mayor and council, I'm taking off my council hat and putting on my Noah's Ark hat. I volunteered to do this tonight. We're at the very end of actually occupying the new animal shelter. I got to see it for the first time a week ago, and it's unbelievable from what we are now to what we're going to be. And the Noah's Ark Board appreciates all of you. And when I say all of you, I mean staff and media, anybody that's ever contributed to that organization. This is really a community effort. So we are having a party for all of you. I am very happy to give you, to Mayor and Council, an invitation. And because we're a nonprofit, we're very frugal, so I didn't make one for each of you. I went by department and just pass it around, and if you want me to email
Do
you.
we get dog bones?
Pardon?
Do we get dog bones?
You might, it all depends.
Probably have to bring
And
all
in
the food.
addition to that, I personally want to thank you, because when this journey started 21 years ago with about 5, maybe 6 women in the community that were picking up strays in the streets, bringing them home, taking care of them, and making sure they have a good home. That has progressed to what you see on East Main Street now. So it's a feat. And I started that many years ago. I took a 4-year break because of council. So I'm back at it again. But as a personal thank you to all of you, I wanted to give you a calendar. It's a fundraising calendar, and it has all the pictures of all the animals some of the animals that we've rescued. So when you use this calendar, think of us fondly, and thank you. Thank you all very much. And I want to add that this is not going to get me in trouble with emoluments, because it's the thought that counts, remember that.
Thank you.
I'll leave that for the rest. Well, maybe I better. I'll give it to him. Thank you all very much.
Good job.
I think I'm giving you 2. We're so happy to have
You know
everybody.
who brings this one? It's Lord, 'cause I never know.
Oh, Mr. Downs.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think I gave you one, right? Oh, good. That's for your office, and I have a few extra. Did anybody like them? I'll get you one, I've got some more.
Thank you.
But I'm saying on behalf
I
of
think that was
of Noah's Ark, thank you as a community, thank you as a governing board to understand that there was a problem that needed to be solved, and I'm so appreciative. Thank you.
Just like I said, this invitation is for council. Joyful Noah's Ark Animal Welfare Association joyfully invites you to our private open house and facility tour on 12/2/21 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 1921 East Main Street. So hopefully we all can be there. Okay? Okay, item 5, consent agenda approval. Approval of the, oh wait for Ms. Gray, go to.
I'm coming. Item 5A, approval of the regular meeting minutes of November the 2nd, 2021, and special meeting minutes of November the 8th, 2021. Item B, approval of the bills for $1,289.68. Item C, approval of the payroll, November the 13th, 2021 through November the 26th, 2021, in the amount of $416,310.28. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 6, public hearings. 6A, public hearing for consideration of a zone change request filed by PSTM Architecture and Planning Incorporated on behalf of 101 Pine LLC for Section 13, Township 33 South, Range 64 West, part of Block 13, Terry's West Addition, to the city of Trinidad, Colorado. Paul Glenn, are you listening in, or are you with us tonight?
Yes.
Is he up there, Mike?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thanks for attending. Hearing is now open. Ms. Hall, are you going to, or Sky, are you going to present?
Yeah, so the applicant is applying to change the zoning for the property from community commercial into historic preservation. This is a property that's adjacent to where the end of our historic preservation district currently ends. That ends at the parking lot there. And the buildings were built in about 1905 and 1915 respectively, more or less. I don't think we have exact dates on the construction, both by the same architect, and they are both buildings that exhibit a historic character. And the applicant believes that the zoning map was not necessarily made in error, but could have included those in the original district. And the applicant also understands that being included in the historic preservation zone is not the same as being in the local or state level historic preservation district. So those are different levels of recognition for historic preservation. The change does have some implications for the property, one of which is the facade. Should it be redone or part of it have to be reconstructed, would have to be reconstructed in a manner that reflects characteristics of historic styles in Trinidad. And is there a question?
We're talking about the apartment complex there on You said two buildings, it's just one, isn't it?
There's a couple of buildings there. There's the one on Pine Street, that's at the very bottom of Pine Street, the corner of Pine in Arizona. And then on Arizona, it's on the same parcel.
But you're talking about going up the street there.
And then going up the
Okay,
street at
that's,
Arizona.
because over here it just has 101 Pine, that's why I was curious.
Right. So at the moment, it's one parcel. One of the other items on our agenda here is to look at subdividing that into 3 parcels.
Okay, no, that's fine, I just clarified.
So yeah, that one parcel, there's the parcel on Pine Street has, I think, 4 commercial units and 8 residential units above. And then, or 10 residential units above, sorry. And then the one on Arizona has 8 residential units. And the intent of the applicant is to restore those to their original uses. So there'd be commercial uses on the ground floor on Pine Street, and then restoration to residential use on Arizona Street. And this was heard at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. And the Planning and Zoning Commission has recommended approval of the zone change. And yeah, I stand for questions, and so does Paul Glenn.
Mr. Glenn, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you did a great job, Sky. I think the only thing I would add is on behalf of my client, myself, we're excited that the zoning board has approved us. We're excited to be a part of and adjacent to the Corsicana district. We know we're not in the federal district, but these buildings are important, and there's a couple other buildings on the other side of the expressway that are in the same boat as we are. So so I think it's a welcoming addition to the district, and we're excited about it. And I think Sky hit it right on the head with the residential above the Pine Street building, and then commercial below, and then around the corner on Arizona, there's 8 units for residential there as well. And both of those buildings are great buildings. They were built years apart, but apparently by the same contractor. So we would like to eventually be listed locally with the Historic Commission, as well as trying to eventually be a part of that National Trust.
Okay. Let's go and turn it over to council. Mr. Bowman, do you have any questions?
No, just how structurally sound are the buildings, and what upgrades will be initiated?
They're structurally sound. The Arizona building did have a breach in the roof, which is in need of repair. I have talked to the building department about getting a temporary roof repair permit for that. But the balance of the buildings are structurally sound. They're in great shape. They've got some very interesting detailing on the trim and the murky beds. As I said, they were done, or as Sky indicated too, about 10 years apart or thereabouts, but by the same designer, same builder, because they both have very similar interior trim and murky beds, the identical murky beds, which is unusual.
Ms. Guigo?
Have no questions. I understand why you're doing this. I went by there and looked at those buildings, and it's going to be a huge improvement. Somebody starts working on those buildings, and it's going to be nice because I think it's going to lead to the redevelopment of that whole Pine Street area. Maybe we can get a couple of commercial buildings up the street to do the same thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No questions, just thank you for getting that project going.
Yeah, same here. I'm just excited for the redevelopment of that area because it's been kind of blighted, and I pass there every day, and I'm excited to see what's going to become of it.
Likewise.
I think we all have the same opinion, and, those buildings, they've been in such disrepair for so many years, and it's good to see that someone is taking it to the next level and doing improvements to it. So looking forward to seeing that get done. Anything else, Scott?
Thank you.
Not unless there are further questions.
Okay. Don't think so? Okay. Anyone in the audience or listening in who speak for or against the zone change? Hearing none. Hearing is now closed. Item 6A1, first reading of an ordinance amending zone classification of property located in Section 13, Township 33 South, Range 64 West, part of Block 13, Terry's West Addition, to the City of Trinidad, Colorado, 0.47 acres, Pine Street, 0.21 acres, Arizona Avenue, 0.26 acres, also known as 101, 105, 109, 113, 117, and 121 Pine Street, and 613, 609, and 615 and a half Arizona Avenue, Trinidad, Colorado, 81082. Setting a hearing date for consideration of said ordinance at 6 p.m. on December the 7th, 2021. Need someone to introduce?
I'll introduce him.
Your motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Call the vote, please.
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 7, unfinished business, we have none. Item 8, miscellaneous business. 8A, approval of minor subdivision, plat filed by PSTM Architecture and Planning Incorporated. On behalf of 101 Pine LLC for Section 13, Town 33 South, Range 64 West, part of Block 13, Terry's West Addition, to the City of Trinidad, Colorado. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Any further discussion? Was the same thing we just covered?
Yeah.
Okay. Call the vote?
DeBono,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. Item 8B, approval of La Puerta bid 2022 operating plan and budget. This is something that comes before us every year and will be coming forward to council in subsequent years. If we have to bring forward a operating plan for what they're doing in the La Puerta area. And I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Valentine, or is that Cheryl? That would
Well, actually, Mayor, I can just give you a brief update. The La Puerta Business Improvement District submitted their operation plan and budget within the time frame requested. We had some discussions with them back and forth, and we asked them to resubmit. They did so, and what you have here is in order with staff and the district. And the deadline for this is December 5th, so we're well within the state statute. And I know that Mr. Gabrielson is here for the district if needed for question.
Mr. Gabrielson, do you have anything to add to the discussion?
No, sir, unless there are any questions.
Let's take, see if council has any questions. Mr.
No, I don't, Mr. Mayor.
Karen?
No, sir, I have none.
I have questions, but it's not about that. I'll talk to you later about it.
Karen?
What's the next big thing that you're gonna be doing? Is it a paving?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The next project is actually Americana Road, which you all just
Right.
saw. And the bid, the Business Improvement District, is partially funding that road to the tune of about 900,000 plus any cost overruns.
Okay,
So that'll be our first big project.
that's all I have.
You know, just a question for curiosity. I went by there to look. Now, the road doesn't begin until, because you have the parking lot there for the Club 14, right? So where was the road actually going to take up to go to the back there? And then is it involved in the parking lot that you guys have there too, for the motel?
It's not within the parking lot, but it is that road that is closest to the river. That is Americana Road. So it starts at Commercial Street and runs about 3/8 of a mile in past the hotel.
Yeah, I was just kind of curious when I drove down there, I was just kind of wondering how, now, the road isn't considered in the parking lot there, right, Club 14?
It is not. That is actually a city right of way.
So that, it would be to the right, towards the river would be actually the road itself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious.
And we don't have much work to do in that area that's already been paved. We just have to extend the water line. Is that correct?
No, that's fine, that was just, make a nice improvement down there, great.
Thank you.
Mr. Williamson?
I have no questions.
That water line, how soon is that? That's kind of outside the discussion now, but just out of curiosity.
That's a bit, but, so what's happening is council, based on the development agreement, council has to approve the award of the bid, which you did at last meeting. The urban renewal has to approve, since they're tied into the development agreement, and the business improvement district. Urban renewal is considering it on their Thursday meeting, business improvement district
Thursday afternoon.
So once that happens, notice of award will go to the contractor, and they'll have to get their performance and payment bonds in order, and then notice to proceed. There'll be some pre-construction meetings, some discussion on, probably the reason for your question is getting the PVC pipe ordered and delivered. There may be a delay in that because of our supply chain issues across the nation. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Rico?
Yes. Item 8C, approval of a Space to Create Commons built-out contract with HW Houston. Entertain motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Okay, that is a build-out contract to HW Houston for $3,177,975. Mr. Valentine, would that, Wally? Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Wally, give some information.
Okay, we are just here to hopefully execute a contract to finish the final build out of the Space to Create Commons. We are able to do so because we were awarded $1.55 million from Carter Creative Industries through the Community Revitalization Grant Program. So that would give us nearly everything that we need to complete this project, except for a final $450,000 that we have located within 2021 third quarter tax revenue. So basically, we are ready to move forward with this build out. We already have HW Houston on contract with us doing demolition work in the building. We were able to do that already just to kind of get the project moving as we were waiting to see if we got this grant. But now that we have gotten it and they have nearly completed all that demolition work, we are trying to get this approved so that we can just get them to continue rolling forward as they have been already. So to catch you up on the history of this, we put out a bid request back in, I believe, March of this year. We didn't receive any bids, so then we ended up reaching out to HW Houston. They presented this bid to us that was originally for a little over $2.8 million. But because we have not executed that contract, or we're not able to at that time, the price has increased to this much. However, we are not requesting any additional funds from our last report to council, because when we wrote this grant originally to Carter Creative Industries, we were only asking for $1.5 million, but we became aware that the price had increased in that time, and we ended up requesting an additional $500,000. So that is paying the difference from what we had asked for in the past.
And that's where you said, that's where that additional $400,000, you said that that would come into play?
Yes, exactly. We had originally written the grant for 1.5 million, but HW Houston informed us that because we had waited, they had lost their electrical contractor, and that the new bid was a little bit higher. We reported that to our partners at DOLA, and they worked with us to update that grant to request an additional $500,000.
Okay, let's get some questions from council. Mr. DeBono?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, is that including the $200,000 for the roof?
Yes.
Oh, that includes that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Hopefully, I'm going to cross my fingers on this, that we will not be asking for any more money from council to complete this entire project.
Okay.
Do we have an end date when the project be completed, or is that a supply chain issue too?
Hopefully, it's not a supply chain issue. Our contractors feel confident that they can have this project done by May of this next year. Our current contract with Colorado Creative Industries asks us to be completed by the end of June of this year.
We have to.
It will be possible to get an extension, or it will likely be possible to get an extension if we need to, but because our contractors feel confident they can have it done by that time, we are shooting for that.
Good.
Yeah, I'm curious, what is our return on that for the city? We're putting in $2 million. Do we get the rent money and stuff for the building
Yep,
that we are doing in the front?
we do.
And how does that go out for bids, whatever we have? Would you be in charge of doing the,
I actually wrote that RFP last week.
Uh-huh.
We are bringing it to the Space to Create Oversight Board this Friday, and if they approve that RFP, we will be seeking the services of a professional commercial leasing agent.
do we have to pay for that?
That was actually included in this grant as
Okay.
well.
And do we have any prospects for any of the area?
That was gonna be my question.
Do you have any prospects for the,
I know that there is at least one commercial broker that is biting at the bit to get this. I'm hoping that we get a few that apply though.
The only question I had is that the contract that's in front of us has draft all over it. Is there any significant change that's going to happen?
Not that I have found, that's just what they provided to us in the meantime. And I will actually be meeting with them tomorrow morning to go over all of it.
Okay. Right. I have any more questions.
Obviously, in a construction of this scope, there's going to be unforeseen things, and change orders are going to happen. I understand not all this material is going to come in up front. As the construction goes on, we'll bring stuff in, prices will change, but what guardrails are there to prevent significant cost overruns? Have we taken a good hard look to try and prevent any unforeseen?
I am under the impression that these contracts should lock us in at these rates. That there shouldn't be anything enormous that comes in to change that as long as we sign off on this. If we don't, then we still have the possibility of that rate escalating.
I would also add that built into it is some value engineering moving forward, that, architects draw the plans, and if the contractor who's actually building sees a better way, we're going to have weekly meetings with them, and we'll go over that, and we could lower the price based on construction.
So we have taken every step possible to. There's potentially some even buffer built into this for.
Yes.
There is some buffer built into it, but then additionally, we're already seeing some of those changes. I actually talked to Mike about this afternoon. The architects were under the impression when they put together a design that the center building was higher than the building where the Creative District office is right now. But as they have cut the hole through that wall, they're realizing that it's not.
Oh, that's good.
And so we were going to have to build a wheelchair accessible ramp and railings and all that to make for that slope. But now we will not have to do that most likely, because they're discovering things like that as they're actually executing the project.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Something that I noticed, I went through at the bottom, matter of fact, as you scroll up, it shows all the various items they're gonna be putting in the building. Shows nothing in there about flooring of any kind.
I actually met with the flooring
contractor who bid it, and their plan was to buffer the entire floor and put down a polish that he claims will make it a 100-year floor.
Probably an epoxy, probably, they're gonna be doing.
Yes.
But I saw that, and it was not in there, any that I saw.
Yeah, I don't believe they're gonna be tiling or carpeting or anything like that, but they are planning on putting an epoxy on there.
Good.
And they have already been grinding at the floor as a part of their demolition
Good,
project.
The other thing I was noticing, I put the numbers, it was interesting because the bid here is for $3,177,975, but then there's all the figures that are in the system, and it only comes to $3,130,720, a discrepancy of 47,000 and some change. I was wondering why the difference, and I checked my figures twice.
I'll have to look at it more closely, but that may have included the demolition that we've already done,
Okay.
because that is roughly the price of what that has cost.
I was just kind of wondering, because there was a discrepancy on that.
The demolition had to be done in a separate contract because of this grant, so we couldn't lump them into the same thing or make an extension on that existing one.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Valentine, do you have anything to add to us?
Nothing to add, Mayor.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you, Owen. Call vote, please.
DeBona,
Yes.
Griego,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Shu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Rico.
Yes. On item 9, council reports. Mr. DeBona.
Well, for Veterans Week last week, I interviewed Bill Phillips on the radio. He's the Los Animas County Veterans Council manager, and he oversees a lot of things. We had a great interview for Veterans Day last week. That's about all I have to report.
I attended along with the mayor, Mr. Valentine, and Councilman-elect Thurman. Last week, it was actually on Veterans Day at the Mitchell Museum, another presentation by the Greenway Foundation. And it was like the information that was given to us the week before it was a public meeting, and I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. We're going to have to inform the public probably a little bit better, but I'll tell you what, Mr. Preston and Mr. Pearson, is it Pearson? And Mr. Shoemaker, I'll tell you what, they are professional. And they handle themselves very well. And Mr. Ramirez, on behalf of the city, he is a jewel too. He did a great job. He's Johnny on the spot when he answers questions about water. So it was very interesting. I didn't get to go to the historic Main Street meeting because I had another meeting this afternoon, but I will get the update and give it to you on the next council meeting. And I know you guys think that I'm trying to make brownie points with staff, but
You are.
I am.
That's okay.
You think? I would like council
You're
to.
very buttered up, council.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm itching for pay increases. No, I would like council to consider not having a work session next week.
You always get to say.
First, I know.
Start from that side next
That's
time.
right,
Don't
exactly.
give her a chance.
Especially at month's end or mid.
Let somebody else where
I'll
knows.
defer to Councilwoman Ogletree.
Anybody can go ahead.
No, it's just, on my one-on-one with Mr. Valentine this morning, we were talking about some of the projects that were going on. And I think staff needs to just take a collective deep breath next week and finish what trying to take care of what we need and do their regular jobs it's very demanding, and I think we need to give them that break.
I think the last time this came around, we determined that we would do that anyhow, so thanks for bringing it
Don't
up.
take the
That's right.
So,
Stealing it.
just to give you an FYI, I'm back on the Noah's Ark board. And that meeting this afternoon was 3 hours, and I told the ladies on the board, I said, you know what? This is more work than city council. And they said, yes, because you have everybody doing your work for you.
Oh, nice. That's Charles' score
Yeah.
downtown.
So, yes,
They put you in your place.
yes, they did. So anyway, if council agrees with me.
No, nothing for me.
Both of my boards are meeting later this week, so I'll have a report next time about that. But I did want to say something personal very quickly. As I was reading through the minutes of our last meeting, Kim did a good job redoing a transcript of what happened at the beginning of that meeting in the public comment. And some things were said there that were pointed at me that I felt like it was appropriate for me to address. And one of them is that, yes, I'm an attorney. I'm a retired attorney in Arizona. And in no way do I represent the city of Trinidad. Don't legally advise the city of Trinidad. So I wanted to just make that clear. I do, however, represent the people of the city of Trinidad. And all of us work very, very hard to make hard decisions based on the best information that we have available to us and the best advice that we have available to us. So I just felt like I wanted to say that. I think the time for petitions is a really important time for the community, and we listen carefully to everything everyone says. But when things are said that are, I felt baseless and reckless, I felt like it was important to just correct that record. That's all.
I agree.
I have no comments, Mayor.
No, I was gonna say, like I said, I totally agree with you. I think that what was said to us was, some of it might have been okay, but a lot of it was uncalled for. And especially to Les as well.
Absolutely.
I attended the tourism board meeting. Oh, Frank, because you're talking about Miss Critic. I'll turn it before I go.
Yes, but we have a volunteer that's been working at the Welcome Center, I think it's 40 years or real close to that. She's the oldest volunteer in the Welcome Center, Grace Krivick.
I think in the state of Colorado.
In the state, yeah. So I'd like to make a proclamation that we can give her and have her come and receive it. I think that would be really worthwhile, because she's really, hasn't missed a day, and she's real, a Trinidad.
She's very sharp.
Yeah. So that's,
Thanks for bringing it up. Okay. Like I said, I attended a tourism meeting last week. One of the things they're going to be doing is they've been talking about purchasing a small bus and using a small bus to be able to transport people around whenever there's events in town, instead of using the trolley. The trolley works good in certain things, but I think a smaller bus is probably going to be better. That way they can take them to the hotels and to the events where there's, I'm not sure what events, but as events do come up. But I think it's worthwhile for them to have something smaller to be able to.
Would it be
do.
possible for them to coordinate with the Council of Governments? I mean, they might be able to
Yeah.
overlap and save
Oh.
some money.
I will, if it's all right, I'll comment on just, the Council of Governments is having some staffing issues with having drivers to drive those buses, and they aren't allowed to permit other outsiders to drive the buses that they have. So I think that with the Trinidad Tourism Board's current plan, they're planning on using the same driver who drives
With
their.
no restrictions then?
Well, it would just be theirs, and they already have a driver that's contracted with them to drive the trolley. And so I think that's part of the hiccup of being able to work with the Council of Governments on that. So,
I also attended the Trinidad State College. Keep forgetting to leave the J off of that. But I attended, they had an open house last week, and it was just kind of nice. They were just talking about, just what the college is doing. So it was just pretty small.
yeah.
Also attended the Veterans Luncheon last week. That was really great this year. I mean, they honored 2 World War II veterans. One was 97 and one was 97 in a few months, and my wife was sitting right next to both of them. And the older one said, "Well, I'm about 4 months older than he is," That was kind of cute, but there was a sergeant major that was here from Fort Carson. He spoke, but it was a full house. I mean, Linda Barron and that committee, they do one heck of a job with that veterans luncheon, so. And hats off to them, they do a terrific job every year. That's all I have right now. Well, the only thing I wanted to say, on top of that, and you probably all have heard, President Biden signed that infrastructure bill yesterday, and we'll have to see what comes down the pike from that. It's going to be pretty interesting, so. Valentine.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Just a reminder that forum, open house up at the community center tomorrow for the traffic study and Fisher's Peak master planning process. The teams decided to combine them so that the public can come to one event and see both planning options. That's Thursday from 5 to 7 at the community center. So it's 5 to 7, not 5:30. So, yeah.
And Thursday, not tomorrow.
I said tomorrow.
I'm sorry, just want to make sure.
Thank you.
I saw Wally checking his phone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man.
I'm not going to that, double
Long day
check.
tomorrow.
Let's go, November 18th.
That's right.
Anyway, also, I don't know if you've noticed on your drive, there's a Fox Theater update with everything that's going on there. We put it on your drive.
Yep.
If you have any questions on that, please feel free to contact me. And then I just wanted to let council know that I'm taking some time off for Thanksgiving. I will be gone November 3rd, and I will not, 23rd. I'm bad with days and dates. 23rd through December 3rd, and I'll be back on the 6th. With that said, staff would love me if I added the 5th Monday in November. I need a vacation.
Go ahead, Mike. You're making your case.
Right.
We did get some calendars.
Yeah, right.
So with the 22nd, if I added the 29th, which is the Monday after Thanksgiving, I don't know. I will not be here, so I'll leave it up to council and staff if there's any work session items that need to be brought forward.
I did want to mention one other thing, is I've talked to Billy Wagner, we have that legislative day every year, and we're talking about maybe 2 days, either in late December or mid-December, or maybe the first week in January, because after the first week, the legislative session start up in Denver. I prefer it in December if we can get it, but she's going to contact all of the legislators to see if they can make it. The other person that I would like to have, I think it'd be good to have, would be Dola, would be probably Terra Marshall at that. I was thinking of having an open forum, but I think we just open ourselves up to, bad things. So I think we'll kind of continue what we've done in the past and just let the legislators and people get up and speak on some of the things that they have going forward. So what I'll be doing is, once I find out a permanent date, I'll be getting hold of Chairman Lopez from the Los Angeles County Commissioners, sit down with him and start planning out some stuff. So I'm going to get that done here in the next week. But that's coming up. Mr. Downs.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So I was going to say no report. I wasn't going to, comment on anything, but I feel the need to follow up on Councilman Ogletree's comments, and I appreciate them very much, and what you say totally makes sense. And we were kind of joined in the broadside that we had during the council meeting. And you're right, you're not the face of staff and everything, and legally I am. And, excuse me, it was, whatever. People can come up here and say whatever they want to. And we have to take it, and we have to take it, and we have to take it. And then it was, the other things. And I don't mean to, comment on woe is me or that I'm somehow a victim, but then for the Chronicle News, and they called me for an interview, but for the Chronicle News to do their headline, whatever the headline was local businessman attacks city attorney, verbally, and then emphasizes the comment, like his advice is horrible. That was really making it look like it was news somehow, which it wasn't. Yes, a person said that, but it's not news. And that, whatever journalistic ethics they purport to have, I find them to be woefully lacking. And I want to say that I told that reporter that that whole issue had nothing to do with the ADA. So the public knows that was a matter where that establishment was given a temporary modification of premises per their liquor license for COVID. And it was expressly agreed that that would expire on October 31st of 2021. Expressly stated, when it was granted, that is what was said. And Mike, Audra, and Bob just met with Mr. Gonzalez a couple of weeks before it was revoked. So everybody knew that that patio was having to go, him especially. So I just want to say that nobody was ambushed, nobody was victimized, nobody was having a problem, and then to be so angry and to have that morph into, my advice to you is horrible, and that's newsworthy, and then everything that's been posted on Facebook. So I just want to say, and this I guess is the point of my comments, and that is, I pride myself on the advice I give you. My job is to keep us from getting sued. I hope I have done a good job of that. I think I have. And I know that this sometimes makes me unpopular. Again, that's okay. But it's really tough when you guys get attacked and you guys are verbally, criticized for whatever, and then, you, Councilman Ogletree, as a retired lawyer, should somehow be involved in this. We are always doing the best we can, and we are not anti-outdoor dining. I'm sorry this has been such a lengthy harangue. I didn't mean for this to happen, but we are not, you are not anti-outdoor dining. You are not like just doing the will of one person to the expense of businesses. You're not, and we're not. But we do what we are legally required to do, and that is always going to be my advice to you. It will be my advice to you as my ultimate client for the city of Trinidad, but every single colleague and fellow staff member that I have, my advice will always be to follow the law and do what we need to do. So I'm, sorry that we have an angry customer. I'm sorry they got so much traction with so many people, but, I just want you to know that we'll keep plugging away, but we'll always do the best thing we can. By you, by the business owners, by the citizens, we will always do the best we can. And, especially these people, the full-time professional staff of Trinidad, they're stellar. But I, will always do what I can in the appropriate thing. So, sorry about that, but I just wanted to add on to those comments, so thank you.
No, I will say that, you have actually saved the city of Trinidad a lot of money from lawsuits, contrary to what the belief is out there, so I just wanted
Thank
to
you.
say that, so. Anything else from council? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Call the vote, please.
DeBono?
Yes.
Griego?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Sorry.
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Williamson? Rico?
Yes. Thank you and good night.